institution, companies, and also the international cooperation. IPAC is very committed in providing best education for the student, that it is competitive globally and nationally. IPAC has a large collaboration with universities overseas, where we can send the student for the exchange student, and Malaysia, Thailand, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, and Spain, and other countries also, and also Turkey. IPAC student is a competitive student. They join a lot of competition and they win the competition also. IPAC is very productive in producing students with a big achievement. IPAC student is very active. They have a lot of visiting professor, they have exchange student, and also you have the opportunity in IPAC with a dual degree plus with master. You can study 3 years in IPAC and add 1 year in Asia University, Taiwan. Then you can get your bachelor and also sarjana economy in UMA and bachelor at Asia University. And you have another 1 year in Asia University that you can get MBA over there. It's a very good opportunity and it's a very good chance, and then you will get it in IPAC, International Program of Accounting. I really encourage you to join IPAC, that for you to have a good future. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
International Program of Accounting, or IPAC, is a special class that uses English as the language of instruction for students who are globally oriented, who plan to work in international companies or organizations, work abroad, or continue their education to abroad university. Currently, IPAC emphasizes learning on business mindset in the digital era, where in this era, it takes an accountant who can build accounting information system and digital-based accounting audit. The presence of digital era is of course also balanced with the formation of Islamic character. IPAC students are required to participate in student exchange, credit transfer for 1 semester, and can participate in double degree program in Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta International University Partners. Undergraduate student will get title Bachelor of Accounting or SAK, and with double degrees, student can get 3 academic degrees, consist of Bachelor of Accounting or SAK, Bachelor of Arts or BA, and Magister of Business Administration or MBA within 5 years. It is intended that students get international experience, both academic and non-academic.
Accounting Study Program, Faculty of Economics.
Assalamualaikum Bapak Taufik.
Waalaikumsalam. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Can we start
thank you.
the class today?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay.
Let me share my screen, yeah.
Yes, sir. But let me first open the class. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. This is an International Summer School and Accounting and Finance Committee with our lecturer is Sir Taufik Najda, SA, M.Sc, AK, CA, Asean CPA. If everyone is ready to start, I will open the session. Before we start, I would like to remind you to open your camera and mute your audio. Also, I would like to inform you that you should rename your name to your full name since it will be used in the presents. The Honorable Sir Taufik Najda, SA, M.Sc, AK, CA, ASEAN CPA as our lecturer, and the Honorable, the participants who attend today's class. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in amma ba'du. Praise to the presence of God Almighty, who still gives His guidance and mercy to all of us, so that we can attend this general lecture in a good health. Blessing and greetings let us always devote to our Lord, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who had brought us from the Jahiliyah era to the era that full of inayah like today. The topic of today's general lecture is e-audit, which will be delivered by our special speaker, Sir Taufik Najda, S.A. M.Sc, AK, CA, Asean CPA. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kanita Amalia as the Master of Ceremony. Here I would like to show you the agendas we have to arrange today. The first agenda is opening. The next agenda is general lecture session. The next agenda is Q&A session. The next agenda is photo session. And the last agenda is closing. Let us start the first agenda, which is opening by reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The next agenda is general lecture with the topic e-audit, which will be delivered by our special speaker, Sir Taufik Najda, S.A. M.Sc, AK, CA, Asean CPA. But before that, let me introduce our special speaker today. Our special speaker, Sir Taufik Najda. He has graduated from Faculty of Economic University of Muhammadiyah Malang, East Java, since 2012, and has graduated from M.Sc Accounting and Finance, University of Nottingham, the United Kingdom, since 2020. Some of his achievements are: in 2021, the Korean International Cooperation Agency Scholarship Award for the Fellowship Program on the Environmental Audit. And 2019, the Indonesia Endowment Fund Scholarship Award for Master Degree Program. Some of his training: first is environmental audit, assessing environmental impact and loss, from the Korea International Cooperation Agency and the Audit and Inspection Training Institute, Korea. The second is short course of anti-corruption from International Anti-Corruption Academy, Austria. That's all for the introduction of our speaker today. The next session is the general lecture. To Sir Taufik Najda, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Miss Amalia. Amalia, right?
Actually, I'm Kanita, sir.
Kanita.
Yes.
Yeah, Miss Kanita. Okay. So how is Jogja today? Is it sunny or hot or?
It's a little bit cloudy, but it's nice. It's good.
Oh, yeah,
Not so hot.
it is quite hot in Kupang. It's bloody hot actually. So let me try to. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. It's already here.
So as you have probably known that we'll talk about e-audit or also about big data analytics and how it helps public sector here in Indonesia, particularly our organizations in PPK or Supreme Audit Board of Indonesia. But first of all, may I know your opinion from the participant when you hear about e-audit or big data analytics, what do you think? So anyone? Okay.
The first thing that I think, sir, it's about technologies.
Yeah, of course it is some sort of technology. But okay, before I move on to the material, so please be aware that when I say BPK and Indonesian say, they are actually the same. They refer to Audit Board of Republic of Indonesia. So please don't be confused. And yeah, well, we are today living in a modern world. Uh, while the IT development has been so rapidly, we are used to using electronic devices. We are used to using so many applications for our everyday activities, for shopping, for example, for studying. Even now, we are using technology when we are having a lecture. And also in the government, we also now use technology. For example, in Indonesia, we have uh, e-licensing. So if you want to apply for a license, you just need to do it online. You don't need to come to the office anymore. And we also have e-procurements and many more. And now our ID, all of us, is stored on the government database. In the past, they are stored in the paper, right? On the paper, they are printed on the paper. They are saved on inside the library, or cupboard, or shelves. But now they are stored in databases. And based on Sri Mulyani, today government has more than 2,000 databases. Of course, some of them are just rubbish. But imagine, and again, you might be aware, or you might not be aware, that every time we use technology, every time we make transactions or activity using internet or IT devices, we create so-called data. The more and more we use IT devices, the more data we create, and it will be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why the concept of big data and big data analysis and or e-audit emerged. So because in our organization in BPK or in Indonesian say, we realize that our government has so many databases, okay? But they are just data. If we do not capitalize them, it's like on the cartoon here. So data will always be data without meaning if we do not add value to the data. It's just like, that's why it's just like here in Indonesia, we have building material, we have bricks, we have glass, we have concrete, we have sands, we have tiles. But then we think, why don't we build a building with those data? So that's the background. So that's why then we wanted to add more value with the data, and in show you, okay. And then in 2011, we launched or we established the e-audit system. And then the system was transformed in 2020 into the big data analytics system. So to utilize, to capitalize the data that our government has. That's the background. So now let's talk about big data analytics. So big data analytics actually consists of two different concepts. First concept is big data, and another one is data analytics. So when they emerge, it could be big data analytics. So So any one of you can share your opinion. What do you think is big data? Anyone? So please don't be shy. I think there is no right or wrong answer here. So just share your opinion and speak up, guys. So big data actually represent information assets characterized by such a high in volume. It means that it's large in amount of data, it's large in size. It could be terabytes or petabytes or hundreds of gigabytes. They're large in volume or high in velocity. That means that the data is being created extremely quickly, like stock market data, which is created very rapidly in the matter of second or even millisecond, or like the most simple example is CCTV. While the data is created 24/7, so it's called high in velocity, and also big data could be high in variety. It means that the data comes from all types of formats. It could be video, maps, images, audio, or many other formats. So, and now we are talking about data analytics. According to data analytics guideline by the INTOSI, International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, data analytics is the science and art of discovering patterns, abnormalities, and other useful information in data through analysis, modeling, and visualization for the purpose of audit planning and performing. So here it can be clear that when we talk about data analytics, we are talking about an approach. So we are not talking about a fancy technology, complicated application, or program languages. No, we are talking about an approach. So there are so many approaches that we can use, including descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics, like summarizing, tabulation, grouping, or layer identification, relationship identification, and many more. So it is very interesting here that they say data analytics is an art. So why do you think they call it as an art? Anyone? So, because actually when you are doing data analytics, you try to find patterns or abnormalities or useful hidden information, usually hidden information from the data with one or more tools. And there are so many tools available. So it could be statistical, it could be non-statistical, and so many tools. And from one data, there are so many information that we can get. So like the music, there are so many tones, there are so many melodies, there are so many notes that the musician has to match those elements harmoniously to produce beautiful music. So that's also happened with data analytics. The data analyst or the auditor should harmonize the elements of data, audit goals, and tools, so many models to create useful information that we can use during our audit. Because, I will give you an example here. So Here's, I give you a tiny piece of data, like A, B, C. Okay, so this is data, although of course it's not big data, but it's data. So how many information we can get from this data? Yeah, it could imply alphabet. It could imply 3 different colors. 3 different colors can be broken down into a B orange between blue and pink, or blue is the first, or pink, the third is pink, and maybe or pink after orange. It could be, it could, and we also could see the data from this perspective, a gap, or a black box, or a pattern. Pattern means A plus 1 equal B, B plus 1 equal C, C minus 2 equal A. So there are so many information we could derive from the data. Therefore, it is very important to find the right technique, the right approach for our in our data analytics. So what does big data analytics mean? It simply means big data analytics is the science of discovering pattern normalities in big data. It's simply in data that are high in volume, high in velocity, and high in variety to analysis, modeling, and visualization. So that's as simple as that. So based on the guideline, again, it is very important when we implement data analytics, we use goal-based approach. It means it is have to be clear of what do you want to achieve with your data. In audit, of course, it means that your audit goal. What is your audit goal? Because without knowing your goal, you don't know what route you want to take, right? So it is very, it seems very easy, but it is absolutely important. And in audit sector, big data analytics, it's relatively a new concept. It is started during 2018 and 2019 in G20 summit and the Moscow Declaration, and the publication of data analytic guideline by the INTOSAI. So this is the document. If you want to know, you can download it from the internet. And let's move to our organization here in PPK. We actually had passed to 2 different phases regarding the utilization of the big data. The first phase is e-audit system, and the second phase is big data analytics that we call BDIX. So the e-audit system is it's quite simple. It's not, the system doesn't doing analytics. It's just like here's the data from our auditees. Like this is auditee A, auditee B, auditee C, auditee D, and this is our e-audit system. Consists of course, hardware, software, network, people. So, and this is our auditor. So the e-audit system is try to collect the data from our auditees, store them inside our internal database. So move from the auditees databases to our office database, and then transform the data so it could be more user-friendly for auditors. So the auditor don't need to transform the data, cleanse the data, or to be confused about the data. So the audit system doing data processing, and then it display the data to the authorized auditor on our e-audit portal. So that's how it works. Like this is the e-audit portal if you want now. So you need to log in to access the data. So now let's move on to our first question: how it helps our audit, how it improve the effectiveness, the efficiency, the outcome of our work. So I give you an example. Indonesia is an archipelago island. This country consists of more than 17,000 islands, isn't it? So it is pretty normal from a public official to travel from one place to another place around the country. Could be from Jakarta to Kalimantan, from Jakarta to Medan, from Medan to Papua, to Sulawesi to Bali, from Jakarta to Papua. It is pretty normal there, and there is nothing wrong about that. So if you see the financial statement of our central government here, that this activity involves a huge, absolutely huge amount of money. It's trillions of rupiah, 34 trillions, 43 trillions, 46 trillion, 24 trillions. Imagine how many schools we can build with those amount of money. So, and what do you think is the risk related to this activity or program? Maybe anyone want to share? What do you think is the risks involved regarding this activity? So the risk involved regarding this activity is false or fake flight ticket and boarding pass. So the public official or the civil servants create a fake ticket or fake boarding pass, and they claim the money from the government while they actually don't go anywhere. They just stay in their offices, they just stay at their homes, but they create a fake ticket and fake boarding pass, and then disperse those invoices to the government and put the money in their pockets. So that's the risk. So in the past, so before we implement the system and the audit procedures to uncover or to check this activity is to send how to say confirmation letter to the third parties. For example, when we talk about ticket, it means that we send confirmation letter to the airlines. So this like Let me see the confirmation later. Oh, couldn't find. Oh, this one. Okay, this is the example. So we sent a confirmation letter, but unfortunately, with this procedure, it will take quite a long time. I mean, it takes time to prepare the letter. It takes time until the letter is received by the third party, for example, by the airline. It takes time for the airline to prepare the answer, to find the data, and it again takes time for until the letter and the answer is received by the auditor. So it's time consuming. It could take days, even weeks. So, however, with the new system, we just need to log on our e-audit portal, then click the related menu. For example, here is flight data, and then we try to find the keyword like passenger's name, flight number. And only we could also to box search, and then the system will display the required information like passenger's name, arrival in the further cities, arrival in the further time, scheduled flight data. So it only takes in the matter of minute and seconds. So can you imagine from days to minutes? So it's and incredible efficiency. So we could uh, use the time for many other audit procedures. Okay. Now let's talk about effectiveness. How could it improve our outcome? So let's have a look. Our audit findings related to official travels from 29 to 2021. So here's the blank data is 2011, while the e-audit is initiated. So before using the system, the amount of our audit finding was just about 15 to 16 billion. But since we implemented the system, it jumped to around more than 80 billion on average. So but you see the big difference from 15 to 80 billion. So what does it mean for the public? Because it's useless if we talk about the system, we talk about audit, we talk about finding, when at the end of the day, they are meaningless. They have no impact on our country and our people. So it means that asset recovery. So the more we find those fake ticket, falsified transaction, the more asset will be recovered to our country. So those assets can be used for other programs. The money can be used for building school or building hospital or healthcare or education or many other purposes. So that's the impact on our country. So, and in 2019, then we transformed the old system to the new one. It is called big data analytics. So this is the new system, if you want to see. Okay. So what is the difference between the old in the new system. So while the old system was simply collect the data and then store the data and secure the data and then display it to the authorized auditor, the new system adds analytics. So because the new system is doing analytics, so it needs analysts or data scientists. So, oh, is it blank? Let me try. Okay, here you are. So we established which is called BDA, Big Data Analytics Task Force. First, this is a group of highly skilled employees. They are data scientists, analysts, engineers that doing the analytics for us. So as an auditor, we are involved mainly in goal setting and utilization, while the analytics is done by these analysts. So that's the new system. So we have 4 fundamental principles regarding the big data analytics. So first one, as I mentioned earlier, it's goal-based. Goal setting before anything else. We have to set our goal. We have to know where we want to go before anything else. And then exploratory over confirmatory. So it means that, okay, actually big data analytics could be used either to confirm for confirmatory. It means that it could be used to find red flags or indications or symptom regarding to fraud, irregularities. So this is exploratory. But it also can be used as confirmatory. It means that we already know the indications, we have found the red flags, we have found the symptom, then we confirm what we found with the BDA. It calls confirmatory. So it's like finding the red flags, it is like confirm the finding. So in BPK, we use it for exploratory over confirmatory, and because as a logical consequence of exploratory, we should follow up our BDR results by confirmatory procedures like inspection, confirmation, recalculation, and inquiry. And the last is collectability over validity. So it means that in the beginning, we don't really care about whether the data is valid or not. What we want to do is collect the data first, take the data, and let's talk about its validity after that. Because having some data is always better than having no data. So that's why we use collectability over validity. Let's move to the example. In 2019, we know that The world has been devastated by COVID-19 pandemic and its impact economically, socially, education, healthcare, almost every aspect of, of our life is affected by the pandemic, right? And it can be felt until today, until now. So the most affected and the most influenced group is poor people, small businesses, and for family. So that's why our government, the Indonesian government, launched COVID-19 social assistance programs. So it actually cash or non-cash cash transfer to the poor families or individuals, unemployed, or small businesses. So let's look at how much money is spent for the program. This is the audited report. I take 2020 as an example. And sorry, the report is in Indonesia. I've tried to find English version, but I couldn't. So here we are. There are more than 200 trillions in 2020 and more than 100 trillion in 2019. So it's a huge amount of money again. The aid is given to more than 50 million recipients, and of course, this involves massive number of transactions. It's implemented all over Indonesia in 34 provinces, more than 500 cities, and yeah, millions of families receive the aid. So of course, the data is big and will be very big. So our focus here in this, when we do an audit related to this program, the COVID-19 social program, our focus here is whether or not there are some individuals or family receive more than two multiple or double aid in a month, or whether or not there are rich people, civil servant, or public official who receive the aid. They shouldn't be able to. I mean, by regulation, they should have not received the aid, the government assistance, because it's of only for poor people or families. So with this scale of data, this scale of program, doing it without data analytics, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. It will be very difficult. So that's why we use the PDA, data analytics, and here's the outcome. We found some civil servants receive social assistance, and we found also rich people who receive the aid, and also we found here ₹6.9 trillion of the funds transferred or given to the non-eligible parties. So how could the BDA or the big data analytics help us to find this finding? First of all, we try to find outliers. So when you are a student, some of you, when you are doing your final project, you will hate outliers because it will give you some problem. But here in our organization, we love outliers so much because it indicates something wrong. So first of all, we try to find outliers like here, find GTA here, and then we focus on those outliers. And then we do matching. So matching is used to identify the individuals who receive monthly cash social assistance twice or multiple times. So we find the record that might refer to the same individual within the database, like in this example. So here we have two different data. They have different ID actually, and slightly different name. Now, if you just use duplicate, you will not find them because they have different ID and slightly different name. So it is impossible to use it when we focus on 100% similarities. So with the BDA, with big data analysis, we use similarity scores to find the similarity between this data. Here we have similar birth of date and parents. Also in this data, again, of course, when you want to receive more than one government aid, you have to use different ID because one ID will only be able to receive one aid or one social assistance. So they try the committer or the fraudster, in this case, usually try to hide their accent with modify their information. Like here, they use 3 different ID and slightly different names. Farfati, here is Farwati and Farfati. But with the BDA, Big Data Analytics, we could find 91% similarities. Then we focus on those people. So we also do matching. So we match the data of recipients with many other data, and with the help of data analytics, then we can find this finding. Another example is when we do the environmental audits, palm oil companies. So we know that Indonesia is one of the largest palm oil producer in the world. There are more than 15 million hectares of palm oil plantations in this country. And we, as the public sector accountant and public sector auditors, wanted to find palm oil companies which violate the regulations. So we want to examine whether the palm oil companies operating in Indonesia have complied with the related regulation. So because the challenge is, as I said, there are more than 15 million hectares of palm oil plantations across the country, and most of the plantations are located in the remote areas, inside the jungle, inside the forest, with extremely difficult access. So if we do it manually, if we come to the site, it would be time consuming. It took a lot of money for transport, for hotels, food, and anything else. And it also will be risky, and that will be no guarantee that we can find anything inside the jungle, because many illegal plantations, they don't have proper document. So relying on the document is impossible in this case. So that's the challenge. That's why we use big data analytics, or BDA, to address these issues. We use geospatial data and geographic information system. So then we just do it from our office and access the geospatial data and GIS, and then we could find that there are some palm oil plantations operate in the peatland areas illegally. So for your information, that peatland, do you know what peatland is? Okay, inside the peatland area. So actually, peatland is a protected area because they have so many benefits from the environment. They absorb the carbon dioxide, they emit the oxygens, and peatland areas are very important part for our ecosystem. So planting palm oil and anything else on the peatland area are protected. Are against the law. So it is strictly prohibited to do that. But in reality, we found that there are so many palm oil companies who convert the peatland into palm oil plantations, like here in the pink area. Again, and when we capture the picture, you can see it's not a hoax. It is really a depiction of the area. It directly taken from our system. So see, you can see plantation area. You can hear plantation area. So they convert peatland to cultivate palm oil. So we found at the end of the audit, we found that some palm oil companies use more than 300 hectares or 3,000 kilometers square of peatland areas without permit. If you want to know how large or how wide 3,000 kilometers square is, you could compare it with the width of Yogyakarta, which is only 32 kilometers. So it's about 100 times of Yogyakarta's size. But it's even greater than Jakarta. And so again, when we talk about audit, we talk about the impact on the public, what it gives to the better future. So regarding the official travels I have mentioned earlier, It is asset recovery. There are so many assets have been recovered to the nation and the public sector that can be used in the future, and related to the COVID-19 social assistance. Again, it is asset recovery, and we promote data integrity. Like now, after we found those data, then our minister, uh, let me see. The internet here is so slow. Let's see. So now the record is corrected, and the data is cleared by, with this finding. So we hope in the future the number of people receiving double or multiple aid will be reduced, and talking of it also promote better governance, because we ask them to correct the operating procedures, to correct the verification procedure. And regarding the palm oil, the most important is peatland restoration. We ask this company to restore the palm oil and the peatland area that had been converted into palm oil plantations. So in the future, it could be better for our environment. To also impose punishment for the violating companies and promote better overseeing. So that was my presentation, and let me see whether or not there are any information I miss. Okay, yeah, I think you can ask anything if you want.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for the great explanation. To all of you guys who has question, please raise hand and turn on your camera.
Or maybe if you have something you want to clarify, you want to ask me to repeat my explanation, you can say it. Or okay, agree.
What are the case or the problem that are often found during e-audits? Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, let me try to answer this question first. The first is relating to the hardest part in e-audit, and you can read it too on the guidelines published by the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institution, is data cleansing. It means the data we get from the external parties are dirty. There may be so many mistakes, and they have different format. compared to our system requirement. Maybe our system require Excel and their format is PDF. It is really hard, you know. And also, may they have corrupt data during the transfer or during the processing. So it takes time. And the second is not every how to secure the data, because they are extremely sensitive data. So we need a high security standard, and it will be very expensive. That's why if we see on the presentation, it took hold on, it took 3 years to prepare. You can see from my presentation, because it takes budget to prepare, it takes skills, and also takes time, also, of course, to develop the system and then try the system out. And then when we find some bugs or some issue related to the system, we have to correct the system again before we launch it. Therefore, it took from 2009 until 2011. It's 3 years. Can you imagine? Just to prepare the system, it took 3 years. So that's the hardest part, I think.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Is there any question?
Or you can type the question on the chat. I will read the question if you want.
Okay, allow me to introduce my name first. My name is Muhammad Haris Sebastiano, and I'm from UMY. So actually my question is, what exactly is the difference between the ordinary or the general audits or between this e-audit that you explained before, sir? Thank you.
Okay. The e-audit is actually part of the ordinary audit. It doesn't replace our regular audit. It just adds some value to it. I mean, for example, with the regular, the old procedures, it is impossible. Imagine the case of palm oil. I've explained before. There are 15 million hectares of palm oil plantation in this country. Can you imagine how many resources will be needed if we do it manually? I mean, should we go to the forests to check them, or should we? It is extremely. It will be a nightmare, right? To check data. But with the e-audit, we just can use technology to capture the picture of those plantation. So yeah, it doesn't replace the old audit. It helped us to increase our audit effectiveness and efficiency.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Is there any question? Please raise hand and turn on your camera. Okay, sir, I think there's no more question. Could we continue to the next agenda, sir?
Yeah, sure.
All
We
right.
can.
All right, turning to the next agenda is photo session. Please, all of you guys, turn on your camera. All right. I count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Once more, 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you so much to Sir Taufik Najda for the attractive material. Hopefully it can help the audience to have a better understanding of e-audit. Turning to the next agenda, which is closing. As the master of ceremony, I do apologize for any mistakes during this event. I will say thank you very much and see you at the next event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih banyak Pak Taufik.
Ya, sama-sama Ibu Kanita. Ya, saya izin live.
Iya Pak.
Oke. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.